Now, one other person has been part of the Queen's Birthday Honours list. There were 5 former pollies who received and recognised for their service, including John Anderson, former Deputy Prime Minister. John has been appointed a Companion of the Order of Australia for his contributions to social commentary, rural and regional development, and not-for-profit organisations as well. I'm pleased to say John joins me from Malali in northeastern New South Wales. Congratulations to you, John. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for being with me, or letting me with you. Me be with you. Sorry.
That's an inauspicious start. What does something like this mean to you, John?
A lot, and I'll tell you briefly why. It was nice to be recognised some years ago for my involvement in politics, but this is about some things that I've tried to do post-politics, and I share it with some remarkable Australian organisations and the people in them. Many of them never recognised, never likely to be, probably don't even want to be, who do the most remarkable things in this country, but also in our neighbourhood, up through Indonesia, the Pacific Islands, Africa, and to have been involved, been able to just, walk alongside some of those people. Perhaps they're people I got to know or organisations I got to know when I was Deputy Prime Minister, but to be able to just quietly do things with them and have that recognised is extraordinary, and I'm deeply appreciative. But I have to say I share it, including, I might add, with my wife, who's been on this journey with me.
It's a labour of love, and you don't do it for rewards or awards, do you?
Look, I've always felt it's nice to make money, but I've always felt that there are higher priorities, and I'm fortunate enough to be, very comfortable and able to do things for other people, and that's been a higher priority for me. And some of the things that I've witnessed that are being done in places like Indonesia after the tsunami, when I became involved post-politics because I was acting PM when we put the $1 billion in. And that led to all sorts of involvements there, for example. Just so touching to see people so appreciative of what Australians have done in microfinance, in health, in education, in agricultural research. It's gold.
Yeah. I want to ask you about the new government, a brand new government. There isn't much experience from the Bush in that cabinet. Are you concerned that during this term, the concerns and the needs of the Bush might be forgotten or ignored?
Look, I don't want to use this occasion to be overly political. I'll wish them all the best. I'll say I'm very glad it's not a hung parliament. I don't think we would have needed that. I'm worried about the Senate. I am, of course, always worried that sound policy, particularly for, I'm a free enterprise man, for the wealth-creating sectors that are so overwhelmingly concentrated in the regions of Australia. Overwhelmingly. It's just extraordinary, particularly our export industries. They need good policy, and they need the tools to implement that good policy. And so that just leads to the broader context. I sincerely hope we get a higher standard of debate than we've had over, frankly, the last 15 years in many ways. And I'm not just aiming that at politicians. We as citizens need to engage. But I would say to the politicians, look at the language that has been used by the great leaders in serious times. They take their people into their confidence. Whether it's I've nothing to offer but blood, sweat and tears, or whether it's FDR talking about the extraordinary challenges of the Great Depression. Leaders must level with their people, and we face great challenges. The 30-second grabs have done us a massive disservice. We need better.
Yeah, we do need better. Can I ask you a little bit about climate change as a farmer? I get the feeling, and you've made comments on this on a previous occasion, about the ad hoc policies we come up with in terms of doing our bit for the reduction of emissions. And more than that, we've taken our eye off the baseload source of power. We've got a situation in Queensland today where the government has asked its people to turn off their devices because we're in for a blackout. You just wonder whether we need to start getting some decent policy and not ad hoc policy.
Well, this is where emotion is running ahead of fact. And when it comes to agriculture and the very serious business of feeding Australians and people internationally, We must avoid knee-jerk reactions. For example, those people who are warning rightly that some environmental policies dedicated to greenhouse emissions will just see a whole lot of productive land locked up. On the other hand, there are those who are saying that with the right policies, because agriculture uses, emits, recycles, can store carbon, it can be a major part of the solution whilst it does not involve it doesn't have to cut production. If anything, we want to boost production. There's the world of difference between good policy and bad policy. And what I see is hysteria almost, when what we need is calm reason.
Calm reason, common sense, and maybe be a little bit more patient about the transition we're supposed to be moving into.
Look, we've seen on our television screens what happened in Sri Lanka. Now, I happen to be a farmer who thinks that over time we need to wean ourselves away from the extraordinary amount of fossil fuels we have to use, partly because they're not going to be replaced. But if you go cold turkey on synthetic fertilisers, which are made out of gas, if the world went cold turkey tomorrow on gas in agriculture, you would probably halve global food production. The chaos and the environmental damage, the mayhem that would result from that. If you want a foretaste of it, see what's happening in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, very true. They've just run out of fuel. I appreciate your time. Congratulations once again to you and your family. All the very best.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be with you and your viewers.
All right. John Anderson.